Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question is from Jesse in Texas. Jesse asks, in the slow season, I ride along with the techs. What's a good process for this not to make it seem salesy? That's a great question and a great idea. Slow season, we talk a lot about self-generated leads, but this is a way to maximize the leads you already have. So if you're a salesperson and you don't have leads in that time in between your calls, you're doing something that's making you money or something that's putting you in a better position to maximize the leads you already have. Now, the one thing I will say is you'll want to coordinate this with your manager and your sales lead coordinator. Get on the same page. Put a plan together. I don't want you just willy-nilly riding along with technicians. Put a plan together with your manager and sales lead coordinator. But this is a great opportunity that creates a hot handoff, a piping hot handoff. So often there's statistics that I did dig into of tech generated leads, and those close at a high rate. And if we can get to those tech generated leads the same day, they'll close at 83%. And if it drops to the second day, that drops down to 50%, third day, 25%, and less than that after that, right? So like time is of the essence. Speed to lead is a thing. And so we want a hot handoff. Now, this is like a piping hot handoff. Like you're there, you're literally getting handed the lead from the technician because you're riding along. And so it creates an opportunity that 83% or better, I would say, because you're right there. Now, I get the question though. You don't want to seem salesy. You don't want to seem like you just showed up to sell them something. Like, how could you have made that decision to sell them something before we even looked at the system here? So let's go over what needs to be in place to make this successful and non-salesy. So the first thing you need to do, cherry pick the ride-alongs. So get with your manager, get with your sales lead coordinator. This is where you put that plan together, right? You want to do this on opportunity calls. And I mean like the best opportunity calls. So you don't want to be doing this on like a 3-year-old system check. I mean, you could, but it's not going to be very fruitful for you. So you want to do this on like the aged unit that's probably going to flip. So you're going to be looking at those leads for the day and like, this is the one, if I had to bet, I would bet this one flips, right? And so that would be the one that you want to ride along with the technician. So cherry pick them so that you're getting into those opportunity calls. Now, when you get to the home, this is where you don't want to come in with any preconceived notion. Don't bring anything with you into the home. You're not bringing in a clipboard. You're not bringing in papers. You're not bringing anything other than booties and a good attitude. That's it. So don't bring anything in the home. You're just there for a ride along. That's it. Now, I think the most important part then is the introduction. So how do we do the introduction? So I would get together with the technician before we go out to the home, and I would put a game plan together. That game plan is going to be, how do you introduce me? Now, this introduction, it needs to be vague. It needs to be simple. It needs to be generic. Usually when we do these introductions, we're the ones that complicate it. So literally all of the tech is going to say, this is what I want the tech to say. I want the tech to say, hey, this is Chris. He's here for training. Is that okay? That's it. Every single time when I have the tech introduce me in that simple, vague, generic manner, every single time they just say, yeah, come on in. Like, that's it. Like, they don't say anything. They don't get, nobody cares, right? And so we don't have to get into detail of like what your title is or what your role is or who's training who, or like you definitely don't want to say, hey, this is Chris from sales. Like, yeah, that you just made it salesy, right? And so you don't have to say any of that. You just say, hey, this is Chris. He's here for training. Is that okay? And now sometimes, actually not sometimes, really most of the times, the other thing I'll do, just to enhance this, and this is not lying to the customer. I'd never lie to a customer. If they ask me, I would never lie to a customer. But I would probably wear something generic I would probably not wear the company logo. That combined with the dopey look on my face, usually everybody just thinks you're new. Like that's, and so they don't talk to you the whole time when you're riding along, right? Now you could have like your company shirt on underneath or something, but have like a nice vest on or a jacket or something. I don't know, whatever. But I don't know. That just enhances it a little bit because then they automatically just assume like, oh, well, you look like the new guy because you're not dressed like that guy, right? Um, but I never lie to my customers. I would never lie if they said like, oh, how long you've worked for the company? Tell them like that. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. If if they do say something, if you do get like a chattier customer that starts asking you a lot of questions or digs into it or something, just tell them the truth. Just say, hey, it's our slow season right now. So I love when I don't have calls, I love getting out and learning from the guys who really know what's going on. Because that's the truth, right? Like flipping leads aside here, like this is a great opportunity to learn from the technicians. The technicians, they know how this stuff works, and you could learn a ton from them. You can also learn how their process works. When I know how their process works, I can dovetail my process together with theirs. So this is aside from it being slow and I'm trying to maximize leads, what a great learning opportunity at the same time. So that is absolutely true. You are training, you're learning from these guys. But if you get that chatty customer that's really like digging in as to like why you're riding along, which almost never happens, just tell them, yeah, hey, it's our slow season. And in our slow season, I love getting out with the guys who really know what's going on here because that's absolutely the truth. And then from there, you're just a fly on the wall. You let the tech execute their process. Let them do their thing. You're literally just riding along. And so the only thing you're talking about, like you're not talking about the system, you're not answering questions. Even if you do get questions posed to you, you reflect it back to the tech. You say, well, I don't know, Joe, what do you think? Right? Like they're in control here. This is their call. I'm not taking over this call whatsoever. And in fact, that's probably an expectation you should set up front as well, that this is your call. I'm not taking this call over. If I get anything directed my way, I'm kicking it back to you because it's their call. Let them execute the process. And even if let's say it's a newer technician, right? And you know more than they do or whatever, right? Probably don't, but let's say you think you do, still don't do it. Okay. Because in the short term here, like my job is not to close this deal for them. Okay. My job is to execute my role. And if there is a coaching opportunity, let's say you are some manager type or something, like coach them after the fact. Okay. But don't do it during that call. I want them to execute their process. You literally talk about nothing related to the system. The only things you're allowed to talk about, the weather and the nice truck they got parked outside. Like those are the only things you can talk about. And I only do that like when the tech is working on something and there's like some dead air and it's like the awkward silence. I just do that to keep the conversation going. Like I'll help out a little bit conversation wise, right? But other than that, like text call, it's all theirs. I'm not interrupting, whatever. I'm just riding along. So the tech executes their process. The tech presents like normal, and the customer is either going to decide to fix it or replace it. And if they decide they want to do a replacement or they want to look at replacement opportunities, this is where the tech will turn to you now. The tech will turn to you and the customer, and the tech is going to say something like, okay, well, actually, that's what Chris does. I mean, Chris, would you have time to give them a quote right now on a new system? And that's where you're going to say, yeah, absolutely. I could do that. Let me tell you what, let me go get my stuff from the truck here and I'll be right back. And then you do that. You go get your stuff from the truck. And when you come back, that lead is now successfully flipped to you and you execute your process. No shortcuts, right? There might be some information you know already. So maybe that feeds into the questions you'd be asking, but no shortcuts. You execute your process and these close at an extremely high rate in a slow season where every lead matters. So that's it. That's how you successfully ride along with a technician in the slow season here to maximize the leads you already have. So cherry pick the ones, coordinate that with your manager and your sales lead coordinator, Don't bring anything into the home. Have them introduce you in a vague, simple manner. Hey, this is Chris. He's just here for training. Is that okay? They're going to say yes. Set that expectation that this is the tech's call. Like they're going to execute their process. You're not going to say anything. You can literally talk about the weather and the nice truck outside. They execute their process. They present like normal. And only when they say, well, actually, yeah, we could look at replacement options. That's what Chris does. Chris, would you have time to give them a quote right now? That's where you start your process. And you say, yeah, let me get my stuff. So that's today's question of the day. If you're enjoying question of the day, follow, share, and give a rating. Question of the day is on major streaming platforms. If you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. Both are going to be listed below in the show description. Let's get your questions answered. Or if you're an X-Star member, schedule a call with me and we can address this one-on-one and get very specific to your situation. I'm Coach Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.